Good night, everyone doing tonight. God is good and God is good all the time. My name is Armature Spiritual. I'm here to give you a short news and a word on tonight. We're going to talk about ACA, Affordable Care Act. That's insurance. Now, Supreme Court here of the argument and appeal of ACA. So, it's been around for quite a good while. So now they want to put a appeal on it. And this insurance that help out with the care, with the health care. So United States Supreme Court today heard the argument in the latest challenges to the Affordable Care Act. Now the fifth court of the appeal last year ruled the ACA individual Mayday unconditional and send the case back to the district court to Texas for the judge to determine which of the law provision could you survive without the Mayday. So 20 states and the District of Columbia petitioned the Supreme Court to review the decision. So they had people petition their vote because they want to appeal on it. And a lot of people, you know, want to keep the ACA. So in your early 20s, you might not know, that the NCA is the reason you can stay on your parents' health care until they're 26. Because see, at one time, your child couldn't stay on there with certain kind of health care. Some kind of health issue. They had to get off of their plan. But now ACA, a child can stay on the parent plan, until 26 years old. So before the ACA healthcare company could kick off the early sometime right after college. So right after college they used to kick them off. They used to kick them off before they made 26. So they made a plan where the child can stay on to 26. Because really, when they're in college, the parents is still taking care of the child. So I think 26 is a good age. So keep the building on the ACA, not repair, but because the healthcare isn't a privilege, it's the right. So now the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act, referred to as the Affordable Care Act of ACA, for short. For the short is the healthcare that performed the law entitled. In March of 2010, the law has paramount the goal and make affordable healthcare insurance available to more people. So the NCA Affordable Care Act is the name for comprehensive health care to reform the law, and it passed in 2010. So the United States Department of Health Care Human Service, entices the health and well-being of all Americans. So the law was enticed in two parts. The Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act was signed into the law in March the 23rd of 2010. So the second one ACA was amended by the Healthcare and Education Reconsultation Act on March the 30th of 10. So they put a lot of this in action, in 2010. They made it an affordable, protection affordable care act. It got signed and passed in 2010. And ACA was amended by Healthcare and Education. So those two were signed in 2010. So on 20 June of 2010, you know, um, President Obama, former Obama, he announced a new interim finally regulation of the parents' bill. So rights, their rights, including the set set up protection that apply to the health coverage starting on after September the 23rd of 2010. Now 6 months after, the Affordable Care Act was in place. So it had passed, for this bill. That's when former Obama, President Obama, he had came up with this bill for the patient. Because the kids had to get kicked off of that. If they had diabetes and all kind of stuff, they're gonna take, more money, regular money. They kick them off. You know, and so they had to come up with a bill for the child can stay on that parent plan till they were 26 years old. So the Department of Health and Human Service, Labor and Treasury on a patient bill of right, which will help children and eradicate them all American. Now, with the pre-existing condition gain coverage, you know, and keep it protected all American. The choice of doctors in the end of the lifetime limit, the care consumer may receive these new protection. So creating an important foundation of parent, rights in the private health insurance marketing and put America in charge of their own health. So it seemed like a good plan, a security plan. It seemed like a good plan for the health care. Because now the child allowed to be on the plan till they're 26 years old. And so at one time, most insurance parents had to take the kids off their plan. Depend on their health. Depend on their health, they had to take them off. They couldn't have like diabetes and all this kind of other important like kidneys and all that. They had to take them off the plan. But ACA Affordable Care Act. No matter what their health is, and your child is able to stay on the ACA plan, until they're 26 years old. So that's good. That's good. No matter what they have, they're able to stay on the plan till they're 26 years old. And I think that's a good age because under 26 years old, you still taking care of. A lot of times you still taking care of them. They miss on 26. They're in college, so you still paying for them to be in college, So a lot of time, they still need their parents, But so now, no matter what they have, they're able to stay on that plan till they're 26 years old. Now, the Supreme Court wants to appeal on ACA ruling, but I request the ACA remain, need affordable care, they came out with a bill and they made affordable for the parents to keep their child on till they're 26 years old. So why remove it? So I request that ACA remains, because we need to expand it, and get some other stuff on there and lower the price, because that's what President Bennett, remember he did with the insulin, so we can find ways to expand this here and make it affordable for parents for their medicine, and everything else, So I request for ACA to remain, because most insurance plans, you can't have your child on there if they have serious, health issues. You have to take them out. It was kicking them out. ACA, keeping them on until they're 26 years old. So I request the ACA remain, remain for needed for affordable care, So that's on that. Then I do have a word for you. All this week is Jesus. Jesus was arrested. You remember his best friend, betrayed him. So Matthew 26:47-56, while he was still speaking, Judah, one of the 12, arrived. With him was a large crowd, army with a sword and clubs sent from chief priests. Now, in the elders of the people, Now he went and portrayed Jesus and had chief to come with the people. You tried to arrest Jesus. And he not sneaking or nothing. He not hiding or nothing. Like he gonna walk in with the enemy who he been trying to he portrayed with. With the 30 silver and everything. That's what he paid it for. Now the arrest had took place in the garden during the middle of the night as a mixed mile arrest to take Jesus. So they want to come at night. They want to come after midnight. Because earlier when they had the feast and stuff, he didn't want to come around the ladies. He didn't want to come around the ladies because the ladies loved Jesus. He knew they were going to attack him and stuff. So they wanted to do it secret. They want to come late at night and try to arrest Jesus. Knowing he's surrounded with his disciples. So now the betrayed, had arranged to single out with them in the one I kiss is the man you arrest. Nah, he just that's Jesus' friend. He was a disciple, with Jesus the whole time. And he gonna tell these people the one I kiss is the man you arrest. And that was Jesus' friend. That's the one. So Roman soldiers had carried a sword in the Jewish temple. Police had stabbed the sign wasn't necessary to identify. It was a good way to identify. Give him a kiss. That's a man. Now Jesus to Romans, now to whom he was unknown. Julius kissed him as the sign of a betrayal. Of the one that he still called master. And had chief to still call him master. Well, how you doing, master, and give him a kiss? A betrayal kiss. And still want to call him master. So going at once, to Jesus, Julia had said, greeting Rabbi, and kiss him. Give him that betrayal kiss. Now this was a moment arranged by Julia for reasons, that are not entirely clear. Julia had given them a sign how to know Christ. That was a kiss. That was he was kissing of him and let them know that he was the person against whom their warranty was. Jesus told him. Jesus told him that he was gonna be the one to betray him, but we didn't know he gonna come along with him. He came along with him, betray, and then give him betrayed kiss. To let him know that's him. So Jesus replied, "Do you want you to come for the friend?" Jesus replied, "Do you what you want, friend?" Now see God, see Jesus still calling him a friend, but that was a in spite friend. So Jesus replied, what do you want? You came for me, friend? And then the men had stepped forward inside Jesus and arrested him. Now first thing Jesus said to Julia, what do you want, friend? And Jesus had called Julia friend, as especially cutting the remark since Julia is usually pretending the friendship to betray Jesus that rather than his sister. Now see what the thing is, what I put out yesterday. God already searched his heart. This whole time he was walking with Jesus. He didn't believe Jesus. But he was walking with Jesus. Now since his heart wasn't right, and since he really didn't love Jesus, he didn't believe in all the things that what Jesus done. So eventually he was gonna betray Jesus anyway. So God put that in there. Chose him to put that in there that he gonna betray him. He ain't waste no time. He ain't waste no time. So what they wanted Jesus' company reach by his sword, threw it out and struck the servant now of the high priest and cutting off his ear. And Peter was the one did that. And he gonna be betrayed too. Because he gonna be like, I don't know him. denied him 3 times. And there's this people, that will be with you, for years and years. When it comes down to who, I don't know him, you know, and he gonna betray too. So he acting like, that he really concerned. He gonna cut the man ear off. He acting like he concerned because he got a little guilt in him too. Because Jesus said, you're gonna deny me 3 times. So the man who cut off the servant, ear was Peter. Now Peter was trying to prevent what he saw as a defender. Now he didn't realize that Jesus had to die in order to gain victory. But Jesus demonstrated perfect commitment to his Father's will. Now his kingdom would advance, not with the sword, but with faith and obedience. Now Jesus, he with no violence. Even though they're the enemy, we can't throw stone with stone. And Jesus don't throw stone with stone. They're the enemy. He came in to grab Jesus, but Jesus he don't want to take nobody ear off. He don't want to take nobody. He don't want his disciples to take people ear off. We don't do that. And put your sword back in place. Jesus said, put it back in place. Now Jesus said to him, for all who draw your sword will die by the sword. So they had to listen, they had to obey. Because they don't obey, because then God will step in. So if they take the sword and should perish with the sword, it's a statement of fact, but cannot be taken by itself to teach non-violence. So he was teaching non-violence. Martin Luther King was like that too. Teaching non-violence, in all situations. So Jesus said, in a situation we're in, they is spiritual. We don't do violence. No matter, unless they have to defend themselves and they're in war. God deal with the war and stuff like that. When they're in war and they have to defend themselves, then they can do, what they can do. But when they come in this situation, Jesus know it have to be done. It's written. You can't stop it. And see, Peter now was trying to stop it. And Jesus said, no, it's written. It had to be done this way. So do not think, I cannot call on my Father, and he will be at once put my disposal more than 12 legions of angels. Now, they think he can call on God. God is not going to answer because this is written. This had to be done. He had to be done. He can't call on God to turn it around and stop it. But how then would the scriptures be fulfilled that he must happen in this way? The scriptures had to be fulfilled. It had to be fulfilled. It had to go that way. And see, Jesus know all this here, before. So that's why he got to go through the process. He had to go through the process. So in that hour, Jesus said to the crowd, am I leading rebellions that you have come out with the sword and club and capture me? Every day I sat down in a temple court, teaching. Jesus tell me, teach it, and you did not arrest me. Because Jesus said, you saw me many times teaching in the temple, and you didn't arrest me. But see, Jesus, got to realize, this is the time. This is the time. So that's why God allowed, Judah to go over there, and betray him, and get it moving. That was to get him on his destination. So in that hour, Jesus had said to the crowd, I'm the leading rebellions that you have come out with the sword, catching me. And every day I sat at the temple, you did not arrest me, but now you is. Now, so although the religion leader could have arrested Jesus at any time, they came out night, because they were afraid of the crowd that followed, each day. Now he's saying, because I remember once a while back, they were trying to arrest Jesus. They had to let him go because it wasn't Jesus' time yet. This is the time. This is the permanent time for him. So it was a permanent time for Judas to go betray Jesus. This is a permanent time for him to be arrested. All this is history that Judas had given him a kiss. It was a sign. So all this is a permanent time right now that things have happened that have been written. So but this had all taken place, that the writing of the prophet might be fulfilled, and then all the disciples deserted him and flee. So he said, he the prophet, you have to be fulfilled. That's why I keep going and keep going until God give me direction how to get to my destination. Because I don't wanna be a prophet that didn't fulfill her promise. And see Jesus, he at the stage he wants to finish, fulfill his purpose, and it will be fulfilled. So Jesus' blood submit to the arrest. As he does, he comfort, to army. He crowd sent to arrest him by the secret of night. They say they want to do it secret. They want to come at night, when nobody be out there. He was going to try to just scoop. He thought he was going to scoop Jesus on out, secret, and bring him in the rest. But he didn't realize he going to be surrounded, by his disciples. And so he arrests him by the secret of the night. Now he pointed out that by arresting him at night, and not by day, that they are violating, the law, and that every day has to happen this way to fully the prophecy, you know. And so, Jesus had he had prophesied his death, remember? So he already know it's about that time, you know. And so they are violating the law, because they want to pick late at night, trying to do it secret, because at the festival they had them ladies and elders there. They was gonna be to beat them up, because they loved the Jesus, so they didn't want to deal with that. They they want to pick them up in the night, you know. So that's the story on Jesus. We're gonna talk about Jesus all week. And we talk about ACA, Affordable Care Act. You know, it had got a bill at the time with former President Obama. When he was in seat. Now the Patient Bill of Rights, because at first they had the parents had to kick their child off. They got diabetes and all this high blood pressure and all this kind of health problem issues. They had to kick them off. But so they came to a point. They can keep their child on until they're 26. And so that's good. It gives them time, get the child time enough, whatever sickness they have, they're able to stay on their parent, plan, and so that is good. And I also request that the ACA remain. It's affordable, care that every American need. So we're gonna keep that. It's affordable, and most insurance plan, like you said, you kick the child off the plan. They got diabetes and they got this and that. We're gonna cost a lot of money. They used to kick them off the plan. Now ACA is don't kick you off the plan. They're able to stay on the plan until they're 26. Okay, and we just talk about Jesus' arrest. How Judas had betrayed him and had chief to come with the enemy to Jesus and give him a kiss to let them know that's him. And so that was a friend. So when Junior dad came, well, how you doing, friend? He'll be in sarcasm because was a friend to Jesus, and he betrayed him. Even though it was written, but God knew it was gonna happen eventually. Because the whole time his heart wasn't right. All the rest of the disciples loved him. Believe in Jesus. He was the only one that didn't believe. So when somebody don't believe with you and they rolling with you, and they got a little jealousy in them and all this, eventually they're gonna betray you. And God knows eventually Judah gonna betray him. He had that real true love in his heart for Jesus. But Peter do. For some reason, Peter is gonna deny him. you know, and they're gonna get back friends at the end when he come back, and he gonna be the rock. You know, I put a lot of package out with Peter. He gonna be the best thing. He said, I don't care what I have to go through, cause he making up for Jesus after he gonna be to deny him 3 times. So this all I have for you tonight. Y'all have a blessed night, and I'll see y'all on the next video.